Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Phil, here to talk about the Amazing Race Canada Season 8, Episode 9 and 10. So we're going to start off with 9 first. How are you feeling, Phil? How you doing? Tell me everything. I've missed you.
Yeah, I we took a week off, but we're here to talk about two episodes and two good. I like these episodes. I'm finding their tasks are getting a little bit more amazing race-ish as we get through this. A little bit harder, but definitely it's been fun to watch. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Definitely. I've also been watching The Amazing Race Australia. So I've been just like so much amazing races going on. And I do finally feel like this is the amazing race. Like the tasks are harder
Yeah.
and like it feels like people are struggling and it's not predictable who's in the front and who's going to do well on each task. And so that unpredictability about it has been really enjoyable and it's allowed me to get like more involved in the race rather than being like, oh, it's easy. They're going to stay in the same order. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 weeks of like really close calls at the end for both legs.
Oh my
So
gosh, I
wow, like
know, I know. It's so stressful, but I would love to give it a try. So that's what they're getting to do. So they're going to be traveling from Ottawa to Bathurst, New Brunswick. Have you been to New Brunswick? I don't know. I might have asked you before, but I'm not sure.
I have done all of the East Coast, and I love the East
Oh,
Coast.
that's true. You did that last summer, correct? Or recently?
A
Or
couple
last
years
fall?
ago, yeah. But
Mm.
even as a kid, I went to PEI as a kid, Nova Scotia as a kid. But I've been to them all a couple times. So
Yes,
I love it.
I've been to every province in Canada. I may have mentioned this before, but when I was like 21, I did this like promotion across Canada for a magazine, and so we threw like a Bacardi party in each province, and like we went to each university and we had set up some different like promo activations, and then we just went like for 3 weeks across Canada and just like living it up, living the dream. So I have been to New Brunswick before.
And you had no Bacardi, right? At all.
I had so much Bacardi that, like, so rum and Coke would be the most typical thing that you would drink with white rum. And by the end of it, I was so sick of rum and Coke that, like, I was drinking rum and tonic because
Huh,
I just
yeah,
like
I was gonna
needed
say.
some completely different flavor. I just like
So
had to
it
be.
it was the Coke had to go. It wasn't the rum had to go. It was the Coke. I love it.
Well, it's 21. What else are you gonna do, right? So I love when they let us know what the times that we're leaving. So leaving first is going to be Jesse and Marika. They are leaving at 7:11 a.m. And then at 7:36, so it's quite a big gap, like 25 minutes for Beverly and Veronica. And then even bigger of a gap, we have Franca and Nella at 8:25.
Yeah.
8:44, Catherine and Craig. 8:57 was Court and Allie, and 8:58 were the boys who just narrowly escaped a non-elimination or escaped a leg with a non-elimination. So
Yes.
the boys stayed in there. And I thought it would have been, I think we talked about this, but it would have been kind of devastating if the boys had left. As much as like I would like maybe some other teams to win, I do feel like they've been running a really strong race. I would have been really upset for them if they were taken out at that leg.
Yeah, and I think both you and I would have been a little bit shocked because of the way that they've been edited. It would have been like, whoa, where did this come from? Like this elimination, because they really got a lot of attention throughout the race. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I would have been upset for sure. So they had to find an all new Chevrolet Silverado 7R ZR2. Okay, I had to say, I know we're Canadian, and I know I've said this before, and I know that we do not have as much money to put into our reality TV productions as our American counterparts. But these 2 episodes, I was tired of the product placement. It was
oh,
getting
it's
to me.
this season, like it's really, yeah, it's been noticeable. It's scary. Like
And like I love John, but I'm kind of just like I don't want John to promote anything to me ever again.
No.
Like I think it also is because all the commercials in between each segment is John doing a Desjardins commercial or a Subway commercial, or I don't know if
Yeah.
he does a Chevrolet Silverado ZR2 commercial, but like there's just so much of him selling to
John.
me that he it's not him being the host in my opinion anymore. It's just like him being like a walking advertisement. And so it is for me taking away a little bit of my enjoyment of the race. Unless I start being like, ooh, what's gonna be the next product placement? Like unless I try to
Yeah.
make it fun that way. But it was getting to me this episode, these two episodes.
Yeah, the one thing I would say with that, I've been because you and I are both watching Amazing Race Australia, and I don't know, it just makes when you see the host on that, it sort of feels more special because you're not like I mean, you do see him through the episode, but it's more of like the updates of the race. It's not promoting something else.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of have lost that now with John because it used to be a little bit more like that. But this season, I don't know, it just really has been hammering in, and that scares me because it's like, how
Do
much
they
are they
have no
relying?
money? Yeah, like do they have
Yeah,
no money that they cannot have this show carry on without so many product placements? Like, and we know we do it all the time in our reality
yeah,
TV. Like Big
yeah,
Brother always has sponsored related challenges and whatnot. Um a- and I understand that you need ad revenue to be able to get some of these things going. I just kind of it just makes it a little bit less the amazing race. And I was saying this on Rob as a podcast. It's a little bit more of like the amazing sponsored race right now.
yeah.
And it just bugs me. I just want to enjoy the race instead of like noticing the sponsors.
Yeah, it kind of feels as an event planner, it kind of feels like it's a charity event that is put on the Amazing Race, and they have to
Yeah.
highlight the sponsors that are all involved. And
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, like that's how the charities do it so that it's like the Amazing Race, but now we're doing the actual Amazing Race that
Like it's a
way.
charity.
Uh-oh.
How can we fix this though? Like what obviously money, but like is there any way that we could like revamp this so we can have a season 9 and not it be so sponsor heavy? Like what can we do to fix this?
Yeah, well, I think the one thing is the commercials, right? I think if you're going to have them a part of the show,
Mhm.
let's not make all the commercials about the exact same things. Like let's
Mm.
have real commercials and not just I mean they are real commercials, but you know, they're Amazing Race real commercials. So yeah.
And even like it could also be because we're in Canada, and I'm sorry to be comparing it to the Amazing Race Australia, but I'm just noticing because they've gone overseas that there's not like focusing on this town's dairy farm, or you know what I mean, like it's even that as well. Like it's just like it's piquing my ears. Oh, they have to highlight this town, or they have to highlight this store, they have to highlight this shop, and it
Yeah.
seems like everything is being highlight, which I understand if you're using a company for the race, like absolutely they deserve to have it be highlight. But when I'm seeing them out going overseas, I don't notice it as much. Of an obvious like marker of like,
Right.
hey, we're highlighting this shop, you
Yeah.
know?
I think that's it. They need to trickle down the obviousness of the sponsors, like what it is, a little
Yeah.
in a way. So
Like, I guess maybe it's because love John, but maybe because he does have like kind of a presenter slash like commercially voice. And we're hearing him so many times that even if he's just explaining the task and you can still say like, oh, we're using a Chevrolet, da 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 da. But how he says it, it's like,
it's
and
a
the all new Chevrolet, la 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 la. And it's
yes.
like it sounds like I'm being sold to, as opposed to it just being part of the natural flow in the conversation. So maybe that needs to be how they just kind of mute down a little bit the sponsor stuff.
Yeah. But I have been enjoying the last few episodes. I do have to say, like, I do feel like
Absolutely.
we've this season. The cast has been very good. So
I definitely have been enjoying the last few legs for sure. It's been feeling it has that energy and people really racing. I think in the beginning of the season we were kind of talking about like there wasn't that urgency and that people like really trying to win. And these last few legs, I would actually say probably since the teams came back that like there's
Yeah,
been a more hustle in everybody's step. And so
yeah,
I appreciate having that energy of like people really wanting to win. So
yeah.
definitely agree with you. So they are going to the Frostbite Dairy Farm, where they're going to get a cone and a clue. um,
Not too
so
tough.
yes, they're just actually just grabbing a clue and an ice cream. Do you have a go-to ice cream flavor?
Chocolate peanut butter. I love chocolate peanut butter.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
like
mean,
Reese's Pieces kinds. Those.
okay, okay. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't have dairy that often, but like I do have this cashew ice
Ooh,
cream that I love. It's from a company called So Delicious, and it is just that. It's so delicious. And the one that I love is salted caramel, and it
nice.
has like chocolate chips in it as well, and the actual pieces of cashews. It's like
Mm.
it's definitely a delicious ice cream. But if I was going to get like dairy ice cream, I'd probably just go for vanilla, French
Yeah,
vanilla.
yeah.
It's
Vanilla's
so
great.
tasty.
Yeah.
It's probably the way I would go. So they're gonna load him up. And what this is going to be securing items to the back of that Chevrolet Silverado
Right.
ZR2. So really adhering some of the items, a couple of chairs, a wooden board into the tailgate of this truck. Pretty easy, but it seems like Beverly and Veronica were having trouble with the fastener of the straps. Do you know how
Yeah.
to use those type of things?
I have only used them once, so I don't know. I know that I did it, but I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but I like this. I thought that's a good way to get a product in there. It's like something that it comes with, and getting the truck like a task with the actual product was
Yes.
good in a less pushy
Yeah, I
way.
don't mind sponsor related
Yeah,
tasks, except later on, I don't know if it's this episode or the next episode where they're like, and we're gonna use this particular app, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
okay, the app's a new sponsor here. The app pays some money here. Um, but yeah, like I don't mind them
No,
using the back of this truck for a task. It that works for me. It's fine.
yeah,
It
yeah.
works. Hi, Reality TV Collection. So, Reality TV Collection says I saw Amazing Race Canada billboards all over Toronto during my trip this past week. I got a picture of one. Amazing. I
Oh,
actually have I even seen one? Maybe in a bus shelter. Actually, I've seen maybe.
nice.
I think I've seen one in a bus shelter. But where did you see yours, Reality TV? Let us know. Hi, Sophie. Hi, Jelly Donut. Did you see you both? But we are talking about the Amazing Race Canada today. So the boys, no surprise, they were able to do this
Quick pass.
furniture fastening challenge quite quickly, and they secure first place. So the next, I don't know if it was it a detour. Who can think on their feet?
So that would be roadblock, right?
Roadblock.
Yeah. Yes.
So who could think of their feet between me and you?
I think we both could. That's a pretty. If we didn't see what the challenge, could you see what the challenge was or
I don't
no?
think so.
No.
Mm-mm.
So I think like in that one, think on your feet. That may be a good time to use Phil. That seems kind of
Oh,
safe.
is it your turn?
Well, I don't know. I think that it might be like because I think we've given you a couple, so it might be a good time.
Okay, so Phil, you're going to be doing this one. So basically, what they're going to have to do is watch two young girls do
Oh
kind of like an
right.
Acadian tap
No, no,
dancing.
no. Look at you
That's
to
what I
do
was saying. I was like, is it your turn? You're
But
like,
that's it,
yeah.
right? You got to read that clue, and so who knows?
I'd be like, I can probably think better on my feet. I think, considering I have tap danced before in my lifetime.
That's true.
Um,
But you don't
so,
know that.
but no,
But
but
feet.
you
But
said
feet.
it.
If we saw feet, then like if feet is like specially in quotes or anything, then because they do that sometimes with the clue.
So, but you've already said that you wanted to do
Yeah,
this
I'll
one,
do it. All
so
right.
you can think on your feet. So they're going to be watching these two girls do a little Acadian tap dance routine, and they're not teaching them how to do it. They're actually just demonstrating at regular
Yeah.
speed that you have to just pick up, and they seem to be doing it a more challenging way. Like if it were me, and maybe they weren't allowed to, I don't know all the rules, but I would have turned around and I would be watching them from like the same way. So I'd be like, okay, you're using your right foot here, instead of like also mirroring it, because
Yeah.
I think that especially if you're not a trained dancer, like mirroring it would be also a challenge for you to be doing when you're trying to learn these steps. So I would turn around and I'd be watching them like the same way. So my feet will be going the same way as I practice. That's what I would do. I would
I
turn
think
the chair around even.
you would have been allowed to do that. I think it probably was first person in did it a certain way, and so then everybody else followed and sort of was like, oh, so we're all like facing the person. Whereas there was really, I don't think it was in the clue, and I didn't see like a line that it's like you have to stand behind this line or anything like that. So yeah,
I would have definitely turned my chair around, face the same direction as them, and look over my shoulder as to what they're doing. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. How would you have done this one, Phil? How do you think you would have been?
Actually, I'm okay with doing steps things. I learned those like I can do the cha-cha slide, and I can do all of that fun stuff. I can learn that stuff up pretty
like
fast.
Wedding dances.
I've got the rainbow in me.
Oh.
I can learn that stuff. So
So Reality TV Collection says that they saw the signs, the billboards in Scarborough and also in the gay district.
Nice.
So yeah, it must have been on a bus shelter side of it, because I've definitely seen them on that, and maybe I've seen a poster on the highway.
Like there's a couple billboards.
Maybe down like on the Gardner, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe. So Jesse and Marika were able to secure their furniture second. And so Jesse is going to be doing this roadblock. And so everybody eventually leaves the tailgate task, except for Bev and Veronica. They're having trouble with like the fastener or whatever the what is it called?
What was it? The pull?
I don't know. Maybe it's a pulley. Maybe it's a
pull fastener.
I don't know, but I was worried for them. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to fall behind here from something like this. Not to say that men and women aren't capable of doing everything, but there's more of a chance that a man would know how to do this, because I always ask my brother to help me move stuff. So he might have a better idea of how to use these kind of straps and fastener things. And so unfortunately they just didn't have the knowledge on how to use that. And eventually they do get it, but I was worried for them.
I kind of wish that and they may have done this, but it would have been cool to see them like screaming out for help, like, come help us, somebody help us. Like,
I think they learned their lesson that nobody cares about them. Nobody cares. They don't want to help them.
No, I mean like other people, like try and get some other townsfolk to get in there, but
townsfolk. Also saying Brendan and Connor are so dreamy and hot. Oh, they're not my type, but they are attractive people.
They are. That mustache is nice, though.
I think the mustache is working for them. I think it's elevated their hot fast factor. It's kind of like now they seem as though they're hipster.
Yes.
You know what I mean? As opposed to just like country boys.
Yeah.
It's a little hipster edge to them. Yeah, I think that they've
the race
elevated.
Experience.
Oh, it's really yeah, they're such good racers. I like them. And so Catherine, we learn that a part of her brain that for short-term memory, she had to have that removed with dealing with her, I believe it was brain cancer that she had. And so she was worried because she was going to be doing this roadblock. Also people doing this roadblock are Court, Franca. They both must do this roadblock, which I thought was interesting that it was a couple of forced roadblocks these past two episodes. So Catherine, she's very talented. She has performed. We learned, I think it was 42nd Street as like the lead tap dancer of that musical, and so she definitely has very strong dance and tap capabilities. But because of the removal of that part of the brain, she was worried of not being able to retain steps as easily as she's used to. And so, like, I didn't have a part of my brain removed at all, and so I know that like when I was younger, I could just look at a set of steps and like I'd have the whole routine memorized just watching it once. But even now that I've gotten older and I haven't been in practice, like I don't remember steps as well at all. And so I can't even imagine if that short-term memory portion was taken out. Like I just I was very impressed because she went up and she did it on the first try, and then she did stumble. She wished that she could use her notes that she took, but then it seems like she got it on her second try and she was out of there first.
Yeah. I mean, I was blown away. As somebody who has worked with cancer patients for like 10 plus years, like I've dealt with different charities and that, and I've gotten to know so many people, and I know how hard the rehab from any type of cancer is to get back to getting as close to who you were before the cancer, which is really tough. But with brain cancer, and you have to think like all sorts of brain cancer could be anywhere in the brain, and people like there's different things that people lose, and that's one of the tough ones. There is just being able to pick up things fast. I know a lot of short-term memory gets lost. Some people's long-term memory gets lost. It's just devastating, and just the fact that she was able to use her experience and find a way in her mind to make it work, to go with her feet and function and be able to pull it off was really inspiring. So good for her.
Inspiring, impressive. Like she did a great job. And I always love anybody overcoming something. And so she definitely overcame something huge, and big kudos to her. So definitely worthy of.
And she did it well. She did it well. Like
she's gonna be a good dancer. She's still gonna be a good dancer.
Slid it to her. She did it well. So
no, she looked like she was better than you two there. Like absolutely, she was definitely the best out of everybody that did this task.
Yeah.
Reality TV Collection is so proud of Catherine. She's such a fighter. 100% agree. Very impressive task for Catherine. So the next. Why don't I write it down? I always think that I'm going to remember if it's a roadblock or a detour or a route info.
If it's after this, I think it was a detour. They had to choose between what's behind me, I believe.
No, it's Get Well Soon, isn't it?
Get Well Soon. Oh no, they did this. Yeah, okay, right. No, I think
behind
they all
me.
did it.
Behind me. Which means it's a detour, correct?
Yeah. I think
roadblock is a task that only one person can perform.
Yeah, the roadblock's
detour
gone.
is both partners, and what's choose between the two tasks?
Right.
Well,
so
both
what was
pros and cons?
What was the other task? We had this because we both.
Not on this one. Not on this one.
No,
okay, I don't think so.
Then it must have just been a regular task, just a.
Because Load 'em Up. Did Load 'em Up have a second one? No.
Did they all put on the shoes?
And then it's like we could all who could think on their feet. That was the roadblock.
That was the roadblock. Yeah.
Get Well Soon was, I guess, just a detour.
Unless nobody picked the other detour.
I didn't write anything else down though.
Let me quickly check.
Anyway, so they're going to be going to a village historique acadien, and whenever I think of Acadians, I think of Marty from Big Brother Canada 10. I'm like,
the accent, yes.
But they're going to have to put on wool clothing and clogs, and they're going to have to get a yoke and two small buckets.
Yeah, this was a specific just task. Just task? Okay. Just task. Yeah.
That's probably why I didn't write anything down beside it.
Yeah. Everybody had to do this.
So getting over there, obviously Catherine and Craig are there first. Second is Jesse and Marika. Third is Franca and Nella. And after the seventh try, we do see Beverly gets to leave in fourth place. I definitely felt for. Wait, what am I writing down here? Oh, so Beverly, when she leaves, though, she's like, I feel for them because I guess the boys, and then who else was there?
It was Marika.
Oh, no, yeah,
Yeah,
the boys,
the two guys. Oh no, it was
Brendan and Connor. Yeah,
no
Brendan and Connor left last.
last, but the other team that was there was uh the team that I don't want to give it away yet, but the team that goes. Which I just
Oh, right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so basically like the teams that were left there was Connor and Brendan and Court and Allie.
Yes.
And it was going to be Court that was going to be doing the this particular task. And now what it seems like, because he was being forced to do this task. So it said that like the clue said that Court would be performing this task. So he had to do it. I do think that Allie might have been better at this one potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, the boys and them were not really picking up these steps very well. And when they were doing it, there was a bit of a grace period for them. I think that they're like, okay, you've done it enough times. They didn't tell us how many times that they did it, which I would have liked to see, of course. But they do both finally get it. But Brendan and Connor do leave in last place. Yeah. Yikes.
And that actually felt real. Them leaving in last place, as opposed to last week's episode, the week before episode, where we're like, oh, everybody's sort of taking their time and whatever. This felt like, oh, you're in danger.
You're in danger, girl. So here we do have a detour. We're just looking for it.
Yes.
Which is oyster shuck or clean and tuck. Which one would you have wanted to do?
Well, based on how I remember the Amazing Race 1, they did a similar housekeeping one, and it got tough. I probably would have preferred to do the oyster shuck myself.
Oyster shuck does seem a little bit easier, especially because you don't have to run back and forth to like where they might not have known this, but where the model was, that they had to replicate, and then going back to like, can we go get a check? And so there seems to be some distance. I do think it might have been easier for us because like what I would have probably done was just like go step by step, and each little element, just making sure that each element was exactly right. We'll notice the only team that goes over to the clean and tuck was Jesse and Marika. And they spent a lot of time there because first off, Marika's like, I got the robe. I got it. And so she does the robe and she ties the belt. And they keep on checking it, and she starts to panic and freak out. And we keep on seeing the red highlight of the fact that she never folded the sleeves. And I'm like, if you got the robe, why do you only think that it has to do with the tie? Like, you look at everything. And so I think, I'm sorry, Marika, but I think she might be the weak link on this team.
I'm trying to think if there was something that I remember her doing that was like the push forward. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because once you tell somebody, I got that, it sort of falls out of the other person's head, right? Like they're going to be like, okay, that's your thing.
They're not going to be micromanaging what you're doing. They're going to expect that you did it well.
Unless they think that you won't get it. And then they're going to be on you like nonstop, which is also bad. But most of the time, if you're with your partner and you trust them, you're going to be like, oh, they said they got it. They've got that one. So yeah, it sucked.
And instead of like, I'm just shocked that she started crying, and she does allow herself to get overtaken by emotions and like worry that they're going to be out of the race. And these are all valid emotions to be going through. Yeah. But I wish that she would be like, wait, let me double check my work here. Like, if we think it's right, it must be something that we're overlooking. Like, they took a long time before they decided to take a look at that robe. Like, they were going to things with such minute little details before they looked at that robe. And it was interesting too, because the person that was checking was like, there is a detail that you have missed. They kind of alluded that it was only one thing. And so
they just had to find what it was.
And they just couldn't do it. She was having a meltdown. But I do love oysters, and I would probably have wanted to shuck them.
Yeah. Oh, I do have to say that just quickly going back to the well, I thought that everybody looked really good in their in their outfits. I was like, I like those outfits. I
Yeah,
like those.
cute.
They're trendy. I think they should, like people
Uh,
should wear them.
Trendy, Little House
I
on the
think they're trendy.
Little
I
House on the
like it.
Prairie chic.
That's right. Come through.
I mean, clogs are kind of back in. I don't know if you've seen like the Balenciaga
Oh,
Croc
Croc.
clogs that are back in fashion. Crocs are in style now. The Croc clogs are like height of like current fashion. So you're getting your wish.
Oh, I did not wish for that.
Reality TV collection would also do the oyster shuck. I mean, they only had to do 24 oysters. Actually, we should go back to, you're right. Didn't really talk about the get well soon. And so basically what they had to do though was like one partner had to pump some water in a bucket, and the other partner had like the yoke across its neck. And as you can see, carrying the two buckets, and they had to fill up a barrel. And so it was pretty basic, running back and forth. Not too much of like maybe a learning curve of like doing full pulls of the water pump, but other than that, it was a pretty straightforward task for sure.
Yeah.
So over the shucking though, people weren't that great at it. The challenge with shucking is like you don't want to break any of like the actual muscle or like have the knife go in too far, and so keeping the pieces intact and getting no shell inside of it is kind of challenging. Have you ever shucked an oyster before?
I have. I've noticed, at least for when I do it, it works better, more of an up and down slide as opposed to a straight slide when doing it, because it doesn't seem to work that well that way. So yeah, no, I think that we would do very well at that one, and also our attention to detail I think is quite strong as well, that we would do the other stuff that had to be in it properly too.
Absolutely. It would be quite well, I like being methodical and stuff like this. So like I'd be like, okay, let's do it one at a time. Let's like each oyster, make sure it's at the exact same angle as that the other one was, and
Yeah.
all the other accoutrements. So yeah, I think we would do decently well. I'd probably allow you to do all of the shucking, and I would do the arranging most likely.
Nice.
And so before getting to the get well soon task, we do see that Brendan and Connor do have to perform a roadblock or a speed bump. And so basically they have to prepare 50 blocks of wood with some old timey tools where it's not even like a full axe. Like, I don't know what the tools were called, but they had to chop wood. And while they're doing this, they're seeing Court and Allie continuing on with the get well soon task. And so like that's definitely putting the pressure on them to like, okay, we have to get the speed bump done in order to be able to like try to catch up with them, because they know that they're racing for last place at this point. Yeesh.
I think for most teams that could be a very demotivating thing. I think for them,
we're good.
I think that could pump them up. Seeing
Definitely.
a team,
well, knowing where they are, I would rather
Yeah.
know where the team was as opposed to like my imagination. So like seeing that they're right there, knowing how far ahead they are than I am would help me be able to try and overtake them. But them being off in the abyss, having no idea how far ahead they are, like maybe less motivating. You know what I mean? Like this would be like, oh, we got to get them. We got to chase them. We got to chase them. But I was worried because the boys did get a little bit of a package showing like their mom and them all together. And I was like, ooh, does that mean that they're going to actually go out now because we're getting a little bit more information about their life? So we do learn that both of Veronica's uncles have oyster bars or oyster restaurants. And so she was definitely quite proficient at shucking these oysters. So Craig and Catherine, they were able to they failed it the first time. What was wrong with theirs? Did they break one of like the muscles?
Yeah, one of the I think actually one of the muscles had come off, like it wasn't supposed to come out the whole way, and I think one of them had come up. Sort of got detached, sort of.
But so they definitely were able to get it on their second try, and they both slam an oyster before going off to the next task. Beverly and Veronica leave second. Cut to Marika crying over at the clean and tuck task, but finally Jessie decides to look at the robe, and then when they go and see like, oh, are the robe sleeves folded, goes back, folds the sleeves, they get it. And she's like, oh my god, thank goodness. And it's like, that was what you said you were going to do. You should have made sure that robe was perfect. Anyways, Marika, like, I'm rooting for you, but come on, you kind of have to like do your part here, you know? So they're all racing to the pit stop at this point. And in first place is Craig and Catherine. And so they're going to win a trip for two to, oh my God, I can't read my writing right now.
I don't remember last. I know they got HomeSense cards.
To Mexico City. And then $250,000 in Expedia rewards and $2,500 in
HomeSense.
No, it was Marshalls.
Well, they're the same.
But it's a Marshalls gift card. It's a Marshalls gift card. It says Marshalls. So second place is going to be Fernella. Third is Beverly and Veronica. Fourth is Jessie and Marika. So she was obviously very relieved that they didn't come in last. And in fifth place, it's kind of a race between Court and Allie and the boys. They were never able to get out of the bottom when they came back, Court and Allie, unfortunately, but the boys were able to sneak on in and snag fifth place. So unfortunately, we're going to be losing in our ninth leg here, Court and Allie.
What I liked about actually a couple things. So Craig and Catherine, what I really am enjoying about them is I kind of feel like Fernella gave them a little boost
not relying on them,
right? And I think that's sort of just because of the way Craig's sort of been communicating on it, he still sort of wants to play fair and be nice and everything, but it's lit a fire under him that now it's about his team, which is the perfect time now.
To excel and
this
push
is where
forward.
we're at. So I think in some ways that might have been a mistake by Fernella. Like they probably, because I think, Catherine and Craig are awake right now. They're paying attention to the race. And then we actually saw a team say, oh, we found a shortcut. Let's try that. We're going to take a risk. And it worked, which you don't usually see on the race. So the guys, they pushed ahead and got in front of that team, which I'm happy for. I mean, Court and Allie, I'm glad that they got to come back and show themselves. They're a very sweet, nice couple. But I think that the final five are the final five that I'm okay with. Like I think that right now they're the ones that have sort of stood out as the
They've all been doing well. I believe every team except for Beverly and Veronica have had a first place at least once. So, that's really successful. Like I want to see the best teams not get taken out by something silly, but like get to the end and actually have a really competitive end game. So I agree with you. I think these are the top 5 teams of the season, and they all deserve to be there. Because I remember when Craig and Catherine had gone out, because of the COVID, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but they had just won their first leg, and it's like, they were getting the momentum, getting to the front of the pack, like, and then they get taken out. And so when they got to come back in and then just building that momentum back up, I do think that they were a strong team that deserved to be there. So I'm happy with the final 5 so far. I think that they are great. So they're going to be flying in episode 10 from Toronto to Bowmanville, and they're going to be driving to a Canadian Tire motorsport park. And I know it's just called that, but I'm just like,
sorry.
Look
Next
at
episode.
Oh, shoot. Oh my God, you're so smart. Oh my God. I didn't do a second episode. Oh my God, okay. I'm so jealous. Oh my God, you're so much smarter than I am right now. Oh my god, I
It's all right.
didn't think
It's
of
all
this
right. I
ahead of
always
time.
am like, how do I make Chantele happy?
Is this making me happy or making me feel inadequate? No, I'm just
No,
kidding. I'm
sorry.
totally joking. What happened on this episode so I can find okay. What did you have? Yeah, let me do this. Let me do something just so that I can compete
Yeah.
here.
It was funny when so they open it and they say go to Bowmanville, and the first thing I said was, "Oh my gosh, I wonder if the Bowmanville Zoo will be highlighted in any way."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that peacock came from the Bowmanville Zoo.
Oh, interesting. I mean, probably.
It probably did, and I love that it was like making all those noises at them and everything. I'm like, oh my god, peacock attack!
Well, I mean that we've seen bears get out of places, so I wouldn't be surprised if that peacock was from the zoo. That's really funny. Oh my god, I can't find a good picture. Grr. Is that what I want to use? Okay.
Racetrack or
I'm trying. That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, I put it in Canadian Tire Raceway, but it's not showing me anything good.
oh.
Boo.
Well, it was a great raceway. I never knew that was there.
You didn't?
I've heard of that before, and yeah, no, it's very cool.
I feel like okay, I'm a terrible Canadian. Where is Bowmanville?
Bowmanville's actually not far from Toronto.
Is it towards you or is it the other way?
No, it's the other way.
Like towards. Oh, I guess we went near Oshawa, so it must be up that way.
Yeah, it's sort of between Oshawa and Kingston, I'm thinking, or maybe it's before.
Kingston's
Oshawa.
quite far.
It's somewhere along the 401. There's a Bowmanville area up there.
Is this a good picture? Okay, I'm not gonna do a picture now. Oh, I'm sad though. I'm sad.
That's
very
okay.
sad. So who likes to be precise?
Well, I know you like to be precise. I don't. I mean, I like to be precise too with my events, I guess. So
well,
yes,
we would have to have made that decision when we got to the racetrack. So I think you'd probably be more of a precision driver, though. No.
Yeah. I love. Yeah, I mean, and I do have a little bit of a lead foot. Some people have said so.
I think that maybe you would be better to do this one.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
If we are at the raceway, I would think that maybe you would want to do this one.
I would love to do this one. It would be a lot of fun.
So basically what they have to do is a precision driving course where they have to complete it in under 2 minutes and 30 seconds and stop on a dime in a certain marked area. Yeah. We learn that Brendan, Franca, Craig, and Veronica all must do this task. How was it so uneven?
Well, I mean, that means that definitely some of these teams feel like they've got a stronger person on their team to do the roadblocks. Like they picked somebody that can do more things or something. So
I guess.
Yeah, you got to be smart about that, because you could, in this situation, I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily a roadblock that is hurting anybody, but if any of them weren't a good driver, it would. But, if you leave yourself into this situation where you're forced to do a roadblock or your partner's forced to do a roadblock and it's not something they can do.
Yeesh. It could be over.
They'll be quitting faster than everybody on the challenge.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That yesterday was a really, really devastating watch.
I watched it today and I was like, whoa. Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you do not want to do.
For this?
It was very bad.
Yeah.
We could talk about that offline.
Okay.
But let's go back to this task. So Brendan is up first to do this one. I guess everything got equalized when they went back, when they got off the plane, because they're doing a little bit of flying and stuff like that. And so Brendan and Connor, they're great at being in front, and so they just take off and they do this task first, and they get it in 2 minutes and 4 seconds. They had to try to go get now one of 3 sea float planes, and they get there first, and they're the only one on this sea float plane. So you can't let them get into the front
That was
because
dangerous. Yeah.
it's easy for them to stay there because they're
And they'll
good at
drink
a
all the
lot of things.
guru. They'll drink all that guru.
They just might. They just write the guru sign up board. I did write that down. Guru. I wonder if Guru. Oh, I'll talk about it after actually. So that was another time was product placement. So obviously Guru, and then on the Star driving app, the OmStar driving app, they had to go to the Oshawa Executive Airport. And so I just was like, oh my God, I never want to hear the name of anything ever again. Even though I work in film and television and I would love to book a commercial, because but ugh, so much. That's where I wrote ha 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 the Wild Peacock, which was nice to see.
Fantastic.
People didn't seem to have that much trouble with this, but except for Franca. Now, with your theory that the people that need to be doing these roadblocks are being forced to, is Nella the stronger person on the team? Because Franca was the only person that did not seemingly get the precision driving on the first round.
I don't know. Is she the driver on the team regularly, or is the other one the driver?
I don't remember now, actually, to be honest.
Yeah. So there could be, if it was the person who doesn't regularly drive, then there could be a reason there. But they've been a pretty consistent team.
True.
I don't really feel like there's a weak link necessarily on their team. They've been very strong.
Well, this leg, and even last leg, the times when they came in second the last time in the end, but it seems like the time when Franca has to do her part, maybe they don't do that well. I'm not sure.
You're just throwing that out there.
Just putting that out there as a possibility. So Marika, though, she does it on her first try. It seems as far they've shown us anyways, at 2 minutes and 26 seconds, Craig 2 minutes and 18 seconds, Veronica 2 minutes and 17 seconds, and on Franca's second try, she got it in 2 minutes and 29 seconds. So the boys are the only ones on the first float plane. Have you ever been on a float plane?
I have. Yes.
I've never. When I was in Montreal or Vancouver, I always wanted to just hop on a float plane to go over to Vancouver Island. I just never ended up doing it, but I did want to, but just there was never any reason to.
It does feel different. It does being on them. It's not it's obviously not like a regular plane or anything. You really feel everything on the plane.
Mm-hmm. I've been in a helicopter, so I'd assume it was kind of like a helicopter where it's just ooh.
But the views are great on them too.
So the numbers don't lie. Basically, they're going to have to work together, and one partner is going to have to snorkel and kind of dive down and find their numbers on some marked chords. And so there's going to be a 4-digit number. They're going to use that number to relay it to their partner, who's going to unlock a chest. And there's 24 different potential combinations with the 4 numbers that they're given. And so this is a pretty easy task. Would you be swimming or the other way?
I could do either. Locks, I'm good with it. In escape rooms, swimming, I'd be fine. Doing the snorkeling and or doing scuba or whatever. I actually, the one thing I would say about this challenge that I didn't like was I did not like that the answer to it was one of the going the other direction. I think you're going into the final leg. We need a little bit more challenge than that. Because honestly, I don't know if it's really a 1 in 18 chance then or whatever or combination. I think it's a 1 in 2.
2, yeah.
I think that you would try those 2 first.
Absolutely.
I would think.
So. And when, for instance, if you're trying to make a password for something, they say don't do things that are really obvious, like something forwards and backwards, or you know what I mean. And so these are very obvious answers, and I agree with you. I was like, there's no way that it's going to be the numbers in the reverse order, and
it was.
There you go.
It was. Oh, okay. I don't know. It just felt really fast. So.
Reality TV Collection's next goal is Vancouver.
Ooh.
Vancouver is really nice to visit for sure. It smells so good. It's so fresh. I didn't particularly enjoy living there just because I found it to be a little bit kind of boring for me. But like as a city, like if you like hiking, if you like the mountains, if you like doing, walking the seawall, like if you like a lot of outdoorsy activities and you have a vehicle, it's a beautiful and great place to visit for sure. I think
But there just wasn't enough rum for you.
I was on to tequila by then,
Tequila.
so yeah, I would rather have gone on a tequila party bus, So I think we'd let you do the diving just
Perfect.
because I can swim, but I've had some bad swimming experiences, and so I'd just be like, yeah, I hated scuba diving. I said I'd never do it again. I've also been taken out by the toe before and thought I was going to die. So if I can avoid going into water, I will, but I can't swim. I would never drown in that.
I will say every time I've been to Tobermory and gone in the water, it's freezing.
Oh yeah, we'll let you go in the water. I hate being cold. So you're in. The boys, did you notice that they referred to Missy Elliott when they got their codes. They say that she flip it and reverse it. And
I like that.
I was like, oh, you know who Missy Elliott is? I feel like she's such an old school performer now that anybody over the age of or under the age of 30 will have absolutely no idea who she is. So they knew her. I did have to do an eye roll though. The Chevrolet branded chest when they opened it up, it's like, there we go. They were grabbing car keys. I get it, but I was like, oh, it's like I'm trying to hide from the sponsors. I'm just like,
and then boom, out of the box.
Exactly. You thought there wasn't going to be something. Surprise. So they're going to be going to Wyerton to find, where this is?
So my husband's parents live, or my mother-in-law and father-in-law live in Wyerton, and Wyerton Willie's there, and I've been there. I go there a lot. So
wait, so does that mean that Lloyd's smoke shop and pool hall?
I have seen it.
Oh my God, you're Wyerton famous. Wowzas! Where there's going to be a face-off. Now, how do you feel about the face-off on what we now know is a leg it is an elimination leg?
I mean, I don't mind about the elimination part of it, but I don't know. I just don't find these entertaining. I'm glad that we don't have John like we do on the American one with Phil, and he's doing his bit by bit of a bocce ball and going, oh, and this one now is in the lead, and
I think I wanted to do that though. I would rather that than the product placement, but yeah. Go on.
Oh, rather than the product placement, or neither. I think. But it just I don't know. They just seem like playing pool. I mean, I would or snooker. I'd be okay at that. I had a table when I was younger, so I mean, it's just that they're not really thrilling, interesting things to watch as a viewer after you watch it once. It's not like, oh, this is unique or fun. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Snooker is not, snooker, pool, whatever. It's not that interesting. It would have been maybe more interesting if they had to do something more tricky or something instead of just watching people walk around a pool table, if they had to make a certain design or do, I don't know, something.
Yeah, I think also the fact that they did croquet already, it's kind of could we do something that's maybe not a known game or something like that? Could we do something that's different, like a cooking challenge or is there something else that could be that could take place? So
I agree. They could have been more creative for sure. So we do learn, though, that Beverly is a certified diver. So she was going to be doing quite well on this particular task. And I found that Franca wasn't being very helpful on her side of this task because Nella is going out and do the diving, and they were saying that it was difficult to distinguish between Beverly and Nella's voices. And so when Nella comes back, Franco's like, well, you gave me 5 numbers. Like, which is it? Which ones is it? And she's like, well, I told you 1. It's like, no, you didn't. You told me 4. And Nella's like, well, maybe that was Beverly that said 4. And she's like, I'm saying 1. And she's like, well, you're going to have to go back out there because, like, you said 4. I heard you say 4. And I was like, wait. She knows what she said.
Yeah.
You can't know what you heard.
She even said the first, I think you just said that. The first number I said was 1. It's like she saw the numbers and is telling you what the 4 numbers are, and you're so convinced that you heard 5 numbers. Maybe you did, but she's telling you what those 4 numbers are. Try those 4 numbers.
Exactly.
And even after she was trying the 4s, well,
she's like, well, she said the 4. She said the 4, so like I'm gonna try the 4, and it's like maybe you misheard the 4 because she said 1. Yeah. All she's ever said to you specifically is I said 1, and she's like, no, you didn't. You said 4.
Yeah.
And she said you might have misheard. And that wasn't even an option in Franca's mind, that she might have misheard the 4, even though they were aware that there was 2 people yelling numbers at the same time. And so I thought that she was being very unhelpful, making her go back out and swimming, as opposed to just listening to the numbers that she was recalling in that particular moment.
Yeah, because it was putting, in some ways, she's putting her own pride of being right ahead of what's important, which is winning this amazing race and getting like out of last place and that thing. So, but I was secretly happy that we got to see the Beverly and Veronica get out before them.
Oh, I was rooting for them at this point because I feel like that everybody's kind of been ganging up on them, and they've been holding their own, and they've been doing well, and they've been struggling, but then overcoming. They've been at the front of the pack, and so I feel as though I wanted to see them I wanted to see them in the end, but also I wanted to see Franca and Nell in the end. I don't know who I'd want out instead. I think everybody was strong, so I was kind of hoping that all 5 teams were going to run the finale. I kind of was.
One of these days it's going to happen.
It's like every single person on this season is running to the finale, the final leg. So Brendan and Connor are doing their first face-off against Jesse and Marika, and Jesse is supposed to be a really good pool player, but they do lose to Brendan and Connor because Jesse sinks the white ball, which means I don't know if it's still called scratch, but that means that the other team can place the ball anywhere they want. And so Brendan and Connor are off. And so don't lose your train of thought, where they're going to be going to the Canadian Armed Forces, and they're going to take part in a physically demanding obstacle course and memorize 7 values of the Canadian Armed Forces. This was a good task.
It was a great task. I mean, I don't know why everybody was running. I think
they forced them to run. It seems
did like they force them to run? Yeah.
I wrote down physically demanding. So
yeah, so that would have been interesting. Yeah,
I'd be like, come on, Phil, let's go.
I'm remembering the words. I'm walking. But I think at least after the second one, if not the first, you would have realized that it's those key words that you're probably needing to remember. I think maybe with the first, we would
know the first time because we would have read the clue and it says.
Oh, you would have known that, but you might not have clued in that it was just the word. Like I think maybe the first one you might have been like, oh, I have to remember the whole sentence. Like I'm going to have to remember this story that they're going to tell me. But by the time you get to that second one and they're just really, you're hearing the word. It's like, okay, I think
the hardest part was that you didn't necessarily know you needed to remember them in order. I think that would have been the hardest part because when you get to the end, he's like, tell us the core values in order. And you have to be like, oh, shoot. I remember all of them, but like, what was the actual order? And so that was really challenging. Oh, I didn't write them down. Let's see if we can remember them.
Jeez.
Actually, I don't remember any of them. Integrity.
Loyalty, honesty.
Integrity. Loyalty, honesty, integrity.
Was friendliness?
R? No. Was it? I forgot. And the last one was loyalty, honesty, integrity. relationships.
Mm.
I mean, I wasn't planning on remembering them, so it shows you that like you can still remember them,
Yeah.
like without trying. So
That
let's
should
see.
have been the game, but I didn't do a game this
I
week.
know we should have. Okay, well, actually, we'll do the rest of this game then. Hold on, I'll look them up.
I've already got them up. I've got them
Oh
up.
no. Okay. Well. Okay. So.
Oh, but they're different on this one. Okay, so never mind. No. Okay. No
On
worries.
Canadian. On Canadian. Well, then I'll find it. Canadian armed forces. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Maybe that's different.
Was duty? I think that's the American one.
Well, I'm on the Canadian one, and it's different
Okay.
here. Maybe they just changed it to words to be
Alright.
a little bit better.
All right. Well, no worries.
Well, this one says integrity, loyalty, courage, stewardship, and excellence is what it says here for the values. But those were not the ones that
Yeah, that's only 5.
I know. Did I say courage? Yeah, I did.
And great teeth.
Great teeth? What?
Good hair.
Oh, of course. It's like great haircuts. Well, let's see if I put in the Amazing Race. Well, I think we would have still got it the first try.
Yeah. I think, yeah, obviously, I mean, those courses are physically demanding. So but they're fun too. Like, it's very fun to do it if you go into it with like that mentality that you're going to have fun doing it. But if you're stressed out and you think you're in last place, that could be a little.
Yeah, it definitely could be, and it definitely was to at least one team here.
Yeah.
So we see the boys messing up reciting the values in order. But back at the pool hall, Jesse loses now against Craig and Catherine. And so we're seeing the unraveling of Marika, who's like, oh my God, we keep on getting this wrong. We keep on scratching the white ball and losing the game. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. She's definitely spiraling. So Beverly now comes to play against Jesse and Marika. Beverly plays pool with her boyfriend all the time, so she's pretty good. And Jesse scratches again. I was like, ooh, if Jesse goes out this way, that's bad, 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 bad. So Catherine and Craig are up next, and they also beat them on their first try, if I'm not mistaken. And then Fernella beat Jesse and Marika. And so every single team passes them and they have to wait out a 15-minute penalty. I'm like, oh, wow. And so they're going to be going to the pit stop, which is the inn at Cobble Beach. And they're going to be looking for the lighthouse. It was really stressful because like I do like all the final 5 teams. I do think that they all deserve to run the final leg. They were anticipating maybe it was going to be a double elimination because they only are familiar with 3 teams running in the final leg. And so yeah, they all beat like Veronica and Beverly. Wait, they left already. Sorry. What did I write? They failed the first time, the second. Oh, sorry. They get over to the armed forces stuff. And so Nella is able to get it right away. But Beverly and Veronica, they failed the first time. Veronica seems to not be able to get her head around memorizing those values. Like, they just should have just memorized the first letter and remember the values. Like, that's one of the ways that you can memorize things really quickly. It's actually kind of a proven way that you can remember things really quickly is if you just take the first letter of each word, you will almost immediately remember everything. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying...
Make it an abbreviation, right?
Exactly.
Like make it something, yeah.
Yeah, like LIH, or you know what I mean? Make it a story, make it something really visual, but like just memorizing the words, you will most likely forget it. So she wasn't having a good time here. So she's the weak link this leg, unfortunately. I was very sad. I know you're happy, but I was sad.
No. I sorry, you misunderstood me. I was cheering for Beverly and Veronica.
Oh,
that's the team I want. I'll be honest. That's the team I wanted to have win.
Okay. I was like, I totally thought that you wanted them out. I was
Yeah.
like, what? I'm like,
No, I was happy that they had got ahead of the
Oh,
team.
gotcha.
So, yeah, but
Yes, I was definitely rooting for them. I
yeah,
wanted them to stay. I felt that they've been overcoming so much.
so
And
much.
so the fact that the Veronica, like they kind of caught up and like they were in a better position, but then with this particular task, they allowed themselves to fall again to the back. I was like, oh no. You got out of there so quickly. Like, you were ahead of the game and then you had to go do this task at least 3 times, I believe. So it was really, really unfortunate. But
Yeah.
first at the mat, we have Brendan and Connor. They win a trip to Auckland, New Zealand, and $3,500. Ooh, to
Ooh. Oh my God, now I'm confused. Marshalls.
Marshalls is correct. Second
Winners.
place, no, is Catherine and Craig. Third place is
For no,
Jessica and
just
Marika.
which is impressive. They
Mhm.
really pushed forward. Yeah, good for them.
Well, they didn't do that armed forces task more than once. That was
Yeah.
the key there.
Yeah.
And so fighting for last place here is Franca and Nella and Beverly and Veronica. And Franca and Nella get there first. And so that means Beverly and Veronica will be leaving the race, unfortunately. So I was sad. And then we do learn on the mat that because Franca and Nella knew that they were in 4th place, but they were anticipating it could be maybe it was a double elimination. Yeah. But John does say that this is going to be a time where 4 teams are going to be running the final leg. So nice. Our final 4 teams are going to be Franca and Nella. We have Craig and Catherine. We have Connor and Brendan. And we have Jesse and Marika running the race for the win, which is really exciting. So wish that Beverly and Veronica was there because I love to see female teams at least get the opportunity to be in the final. We do have one being Franca and Nella, but I would have loved to see 2. It would have been great.
Yeah, and I really like, as you said, they were sort of they weren't underdogs in the sense that they were doing so well at the challenges, and they were a strong team, but they were outcasts in some way. Like you felt like other teams just didn't want them there, and I was like, come on, like just because they're competition and you're making it like personal, don't make it. They're not making it personal, so don't do that. So yeah.
So no game today because we forgot, but we do have an even better game to be able to share with you guys. Ooh. So earlier on this afternoon, I got a message from Craig from Catherine and Craig. And so they DM'd me asking whether or not I would be able to host the question and answer for their viewing party. So I would love to share that with all you guys here. It's going to be on Tuesday. The suggested arrival is at 7 p.m. Eastern. And the location is the Bottom Line, which is at 22 Front Street West. And so I'm going to go for sure. Phil is going to make the trip to Toronto and we're going to host a question and answer. And I believe Jojo is also going to join. Wonderful. I don't know if he's going to do the question and answer with us or not. We'll talk about this after offline, but we will all be there to talk with some of the players of this season of the Amazing Race. And then so we'll do the live question and answer at around 8 p.m. Eastern. And then at 9, there will be a live airing of the final episode of The Amazing Race Canada, Season 8. So hopefully we'll also get to do some maybe questions and chat with the winners and just like, how people, hopefully many people from the final leg might be around. And so yeah, it should be a great time. Great. We will get to interact with all these people from The Amazing Race Canada. And so, yeah, if you are living in the Toronto area or close by, join us. I will put the address in the description box below. And once the flyer is made, I will post the flyer on all social media platforms so you guys can all join in and come and hang out with us. So
Woohoo!
that's kind of really exciting that we're going to be part of the action, this in live and in person, which is super fun. I'm going to meet Phil live for the first
We're
time.
gonna meet. How many years? It's been like 2-3 years now.
Yours,
We
yes.
get to meet. Like, I'm so happy. COVID friends finally meeting.
Yay! COVID friends IRL. So we will be doing that on Tuesday this week. But if you haven't done so already, could you please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel? Look at that. We're having some like really fun activities that you get to come and participate in. Hopefully, we'll be able to record it depending on what we will be allowed to do in terms of what the network is going to let us do. But we're going to try our best to record it. And then I will upload the event if I can up onto Reality Realist. So make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified whenever we have anything fun going on like we do this week. Woo! Please like this video. Let's get this video up to like 100 likes. That's not so many. 100 likes is great. And leave a comment as to maybe something that you would like to ask a racer. So nothing about how the sausage is made, like production wise, but like anything that of experiences of the racers or any kind of questions maybe about what their experiences were in certain tasks or whatever. Like you kind of get the point. But leave us some questions that we can maybe ask some of our favorite racers here, and we'll see if we can get them to them.
And who do they want to see win? We want to know that too.
Well, obviously we know. Actually, I don't even know. Who do I want to see win? At this point, I don't know. I actually really like them all differently for different reasons. They're both all strong in different ways. I can see any of those 4 teams winning, essentially. I feel like it feels like the winning team is either going to be Craig and Catherine or it's going to be Jesse and Marika. Because I feel like both those teams kind of seemingly overcame the most in this race. There's been many times where Marika was thinking that they were out of it and they were still in. Even they got taken out by COVID and now they're still in. And so I feel like they overcame a little bit more than Franca and Nella and the boys. But that's just my thought. But I could see any team winning at this point. What about you?
I know at the very beginning I was like, oh, Craig and Catherine, this team's they're going to be a bit much. They're going to be lots of energy here, and I was like, I think they're playing for all stars, but I think that they deserve the win for this race, and I think the fact that they've opened up so much and Catherine shared her story and everything, I don't know, I probably because it does mean a little bit to me. Like I would just really like to see them pull it off. So.
Yeah, so I can definitely see them being the winning team, especially knowing that, and they keep the sound bites in where it's like, one of her dreams is to travel across country with her best friend and get to see everything and participate in as many legs of the race as possible. Like I just feel like we kept on hearing that it might be their full story, and on the mat at the finish line, hearing that will be, I think, one of the most impactful. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled out the win, either them or Jesse. I feel like are the front runners in my thoughts.
Yeah.
But I still think that it's anybody's game.
It's anybody's game. They're all good, and they're going to all have to come with their A game.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So we're gonna see it live, which is really fun. I don't know if we'll do a live maybe we'll do a recap a couple days later. We can talk about our experience. So yeah. Well, thanks, Phil. We're the next time I see each other, we're gonna be in person.
Oh my
gosh. Fun. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Everybody here in the chat, you guys are great. Hopefully you're nearby. You'll be able to meet us in person as well in Toronto. Again, I'll put the location and time, any details that I have into the description box below. And when I get a flyer, I will also post that on all my social media platforms. So we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.